yes, it's a beautiful week, a beautiful day it is, and it's the week that precedes Valentine. So yes, we're starting off with that energy. Love. Welcome to the program. It's Voice of the People Television. We call this program VOP This Morning, and I am Moses Humphrey. Over the next 2 hours, let's take you through a few things that we will be discussing. Arewa group accuses Amaechi and Bafarawa of planning protest to destabilize Tinubu's government. Calls on security agencies to investigate plot as group supports Tinubu's economic reforms. Oh well, these and more are what we'll be focusing on this morning.
And good morning there, and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Away from that, Bode George, former Deputy National Chairman of the PDP, says only through federalism, not state creation, can solve Nigeria's problems. Calls for constitutional reforms.
Interesting. Fina Okechukwu, and then it's also Monday. Let me just say that Moses said is this week, actually, precisely the Valentine Day. Let me tell you that it's just 4 days to Valentine, and today is just the 10th day in the month of February. Those are wonderful topics that my colleague in the studio wrote out are a major topic of conversation. Yes, those are where we'll be meeting Touchlight proper today. But we also have other interesting trending stories that made it to the social media platforms. But before we proceed, we'll encourage you to click on the subscription button. Yes, if you're not subscribed on our YouTube, do well to do that. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms like X.com, the Facebook, the TikTok, we are at VOP TV Live. Also visit the website on www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news stories. As Voice of the People, it is our duty to make you to have more than a voice. So you can be part of today's conversation by calling the number you see screen on your screen, 0904-473-2605. You can also send us a 1-minute video of yourself via WhatsApp reacting to any topic of conversation that fancies your interest. And then talking about trending stories, it's interesting also to bring it out to the table this morning that the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has called for the release of a TikToker whose name is Olumide Ogunsanwo, also known as the Sea King. This individual was arrested for allegedly cyberbullying the General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, and this also sparked, I think, a reaction, from so many persons. People are complaining, why would that happen? It all began when the General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God called on the people who are Redeemers, to fast 400 days for the betterment of Nigeria's economy. And this young man, I did not really understand the reason why people should fast for 100 days. And he took it to his social media platform and he started saying a whole lot of things. And now, Adeboye said, no, I wasn't the one that arrested him. Well, please, he should be released and all that. But
let's watch the video. Let's watch the video where, the young man reeled out insults and the response from Pastor Enoch Adeboye.
The joke. Say the shame never they knock on your door like this. I tell you, I want you, yell. Don't. Useless boy. The other day, I tell you, say shame they knock on your door. It is say the joke. Say the shame never they knock on your door like this. I tell you, I want you,
Pray, but you did not pray during your. You came outside to come and protest, to join them to hijack the country and put us in. Pastor Adeboye, if fire want to start burning in this country, true, like you said, if true, say you see and say fire go burn for this country, now you that fire go first burn. Yes, it go start for you and that your church, it go burn all of that. Because you, during Jonathan regime, that was selling fuel less than 200 naira, you came outside to protest with Tinubu and the rest, to hijack this whole thing, to bring these evil people inside. But you now, that same person now, you are telling that your congregation now to fast and pray for Nigeria. They should keep praying. They cannot pray during Jonathan. No. They did not pray. You took action. You brought them out. Come and protest. But now that they are selling for their life don't spoil. They are buying for it to survive is hard.
Those are the videos that the Sea King, that's what's his name again, Olumide Ogunsanwo made. He posted those videos on TikTok, and you know, a whole lot of persons come up to criticize the fact that he called Pa Adeboye small boy and a whole lot. You know, some Nigerians are saying, why would he even go ahead to insult someone who did not talk to him directly? Is he a redeemer? What is his business? What is happening in the church? And some other persons were of the opinion that no, it's a good time to start talking about how, you know, the church people or religious bodies now in general, you know, have been trying to make Nigerians see things that should have been done in a different way to be more spiritual than physical. But interesting, Pa Adeboye have said that the man should be released. I could recall there's another post about it where the likes of human rights activists were visited him in Abuja and with some lawyers, and they said no, Adeboye is not the one that made this young man to be arrested, but another individual maybe who is a redeemer, who picked offense over the way he addressed Pa Adeboye, took it upon himself to arrest him and arraign him for cyberbullying. But I think even when we have the social media platform to be a way for us to express ourselves, but we should also be cautious about what we say and how we say it, you know, so that, you know, something like this won't just occur again. But what do you make of this?
Well, Fina, it's, I think the Sea King was seeking attention, and he got the attention that he deserves. And probably the next thing I'll do is to go on air and insult Moses, you know, clearly insult you, trash you so that you ask someone to arrest me, you know, so that I can also get the kind of attention that this young man is getting. Now, that said, the young man had genuine consent, you know, in addressing issues around what Pa Adebayo did the other time.
Adeboye.
So Adeboye
Yeah.
did the other time. But I think he clearly went overboard. It's insulting. He was quite insulting. I mean, you don't call an elder a small boy. You don't do that. We are Africans. We still have our values, despite the kind of westernization, you know, that is sweeping the whole of Africa and other parts of the world. Curiously, other parts of the world are pushing back. It's only Africa that is embracing. That said, what is instructive in all of this is that it brings to fore the dangers inherent in the cyberbullying act. Police arresting somebody for just making a statement, for just like insulting someone. It should be concerning to the average Nigerian that we are getting to this level, that the whole thing about cyberbullying is degenerating to this level. The other day it was Omoyele who said Inspector General of Police was illegal, acting illegally. Now we have Seeking said, look, and someone who is clearly, you know, on the extreme side of it, extremism, went out of his way to ask for the arrest of this man. And the police did that without even questioning, relying on the Cyberbullying Act. It's dangerous. Let's be very careful the direction we are going.
I absolutely understand your concerns. Yes, it is something to think about. Cyberbullying Act going a little overboard here with the arrest and transfer of this individual. But let's state things. There was a petition. You're all right. There was a petition made against this individual, and rightly said, we are Africans and we shouldn't lose sight of that. We shouldn't throw insults. And I think a lot of young people embracing social media are churning out disrespectful slurs, and it should be curbed. It should be curbed, because you're not even a member of the denomination. Nobody, even the members of the church, I'm not sure they are compelled to fast for 100 days. It's a thing of choice. Yes, the leader said this, but I know a lot of churches where they are asked to fast, but not everybody does it. They even tell you that, look, if you have health concerns, see your doctor before you go into this. All right, so we should be careful. We should be careful of, if this, well, I hate to say this, but if this were to be an attack on a Muslim cleric, it would go beyond an arrest. We would have seen people taking laws into their hands. So I think Christians should learn to respect their own religion as well, and also, religious individuals. Let's not continue to churn out disrespect in the name of being at liberty to do whatever we want. No, I think that should be curbed. Anyway, away from that, let's quickly run to the papers. We do apologize for starting the show later than we should, and we're pressed for time. But let's quickly run to the dailies now. Let's look at stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. Starting off with the Nigerian Tribune, I have these headlines in front of me. Now, the banner headline here reads, "Questions persist over PDP National Secretary, why BOT backed governors on Ironwood's removal." And then, investors favor 364-day bonds, Treasury bills. Court affirms FCCPC's regulatory authority in telecom sector. Navy intercepts 16 boats loaded with 1,000 bags of rice in Badagry. NECA rejects new 4% customs levy, warns it will further impoverish Nigerians. FG steps into power outage crisis at UCH. Power Minister, IBEDC MD, visit hospital today. Patients not bringing generators to power wards. Management. All right. And then quickly, further down, we have 1 year after Tinubu, Macron, Obasanjo, Sanwo-Olu, others paid tribute to Herbert Wigwe. Leadership not title but sacrifice, service to people. Fayemi. Tinubu hailed his sacrifice in stepping down at APC presidential primary. 2 drug peddlers excrete 125 wraps of heroin at Lagos, Port Harcourt airports. Binani won Adamawa 2023 Guber polls, dismissed REC insists. Adamawa government challenges him to provide evidence. APC set to hold NEC meeting, says opposition merely out to grab power for personal aggrandizement. Well, these are the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune.
On the cover page of the Daily Independent today, the banner headline reads, "Reports predict price stabilization amid record high food inflation." And the window headlines on the cover page of Daily Independent are 167 billion naira MDA scam. Serap sued Tinubu for not prosecuting contractors. That is one of a major topic of conversation today. Health sectors are $1.07 billion must not be swallowed by snakes, monkeys, Atiku warns. And then we have other headlines to be Sam Njoma, Namibia's first president, dies at 95. NECA officer offers panacea to unemployment crisis. I'll take that again for clarity purposes. NECA offers panacea for unemployment crisis. Nigeria, Israel most joint commission dialogue. And right after that story, minister seeks support in tackling food insecurity. The story is on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. PDP crisis. Any member who disobeys BOT will be thrown out. That's coming from Bode George. And we have another bold headline again on the cover page of Daily Independent. FCCPC excited as court affirms regulatory authority in telecom sector. Right, that's amid the 50% tariff hike. And we have the bottom strip headline to be one who kills through fake drugs deserves death penalty. That's coming from NAFDAC DG, and those are the stories you'll find on the cover page of Daily Independent today.
Now, let's quickly run through the Nation newspaper. MBN holding 17.65% YTD gains make it best performing tier 1 bank. Now, the window headlines, tax reform will spark economic rivalry among states, says Idris. Now, foreign inflows rise by 53%, its highest in 5 years. Why proposal for 31 new states is not likely to succeed. Now, the big story, federal government targets capital market to fund infrastructure, road, rail, education, health, IT sectors to benefit. IFC team, ICRC to work out modalities. Court okays FCCP's power in telecom regulation. Agency to protect consumers' interest in tariff regime. And troops destroy bandit camps in Zamfara, kill 44. And the bottom strip, 2 excrete 125 wraps of heroin. Now, Fayemi, a comrade in pro-democracy agitation, says Tinubu. And that's all from the Nation newspaper.
All right, so let's quickly dive into the conversation proper now. Arewa group accuses Chibuike Amaechi and Atahiru Bafarawa of planning protests. And the aim, they say, is to destabilize this government, that's the Tinubu's government, and They have called on security agencies to investigate the plot as group supports Tinubu's economic reforms. Well, let's talk about this one when we come back from this break. Join us again.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. People's Voice, Mondays through Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Are you ready to connect with distinguished Nigerians around the world? The Diaspora Perspective is here to share the views of Nigerians in the diaspora on burning issues.
From the street of New York, the royal cities of London, and the bustling cities of Europe, Voice of the People Television brings to you a roundtable and collage of interesting views from Nigerians in diaspora.
Join the host of the show and some Nigerians in diaspora, Dr. Damages, the flagship, Show, and KJ, as they discuss the experiences, challenges, and triumphs of Nigerians living abroad.
Discussing and analyzing everything from politics, culture, policies, career success, and how Nigerians are staying connected to their roots. Showing every Saturday by 2 p.m. West African Time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The Diaspora Perspective, giving a voice to Nigerians abroad. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. From the views on the street
we go to bed empty hunger
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor.
Well, thanks for joining us again. Now let's dive into the conversation. The reformed Arewa Youth Council of Nigeria has thrown its support behind President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms, arguing that Nigeria's current challenges stem from past administrations. The group accused former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, and ex-governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, of allegedly playing a role in the country's economic woes. The group's national president, Bilal Abdullahi, has petitioned the Inspector General of Police and the Department of State Services, DSS, claiming the two politicians are plotting mass protests across northern states under the guise of economic hardship. He warned that the planned demonstrations set to begin in Sokoto, Zamfara, Kano, Kebbi, Kaduna, and Katsina states could lead to widespread unrest. Describing the alleged scheme as a threat to national security, Abdullahi urged security agencies to investigate and take immediate action. He insisted that such activities must not be tolerated, warning that political actors seeking to destabilize the nation should face the full weight of the law. Well, we have joining us in the studio to make sense of this. We have Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is an economist and a communication expert. Well, good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Moses and the crew. Good morning, Nigerians.
We also have Barrister Darlington Agumo. Barrister, good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses.
All right.
And the crew.
Now, joining us from our outstations, from Benin, we have Ambassador Respect Imweje Voke, who is a public affairs analyst and a political commentator. He would be joining the conversation from our Benin station. We will also be joined by Dr. Bright Onyovokuko, a medical doctor, a public affairs commentator. And then from Port Harcourt, Barrister Innocent Eku will join the conversation as well, and that will be in the course of the program. But we'll start off with our guest in-house. Now, let me start off with Barrister Darlington now. Barrister, what comes to mind when you hear this sort of allegation that these individuals who bore their minds are planning a protest? Is this intelligence report, or is this a ploy to further gag Nigerians? What comes to your mind, seeing that they've said, look, there is a planned protest coming up, and these people should be stopped? Should we be hearing this from an organization, basically a civil organization, or should we be hearing of such from the security architecture?
Yeah, Moses, you know, we are in a season of psychophancy. Everybody is doing everything to please the Tinubu. And so whenever they needed money, they will say something that will impress Tinubu and APC. At what point did this group become the watchdog for APC and the government to know who wants to protest and who does not want to protest? I don't believe such an arrangement. Amaechi does not have the clout to go and organize a protest in the north. He doesn't. If they have mentioned a northerner, I would say maybe. But for Amaechi, he doesn't. He wouldn't even go far in trying to organize such a protest.
Barrister, he's not doing it alone.
I
so
know.
He's in concert with some other people.
For him to be involved is wrong. I was thinking they will mention Arewa, and then maybe another northerner. It will make sense.
But we have the likes of Bafarawa, he has his name also on the radar.
If you check, the two names they mentioned, it doesn't add up.
So don't you think that these are just the figureheads, that other persons are kind of, doing the work on the ground for the protest to happen, Barrister Darlington?
It will not go far. I mean, it will not add up because These people do not have the clout.
What would you say? So when you have the likes of Arewa, saying that it's more like APC is no longer doing what is being expected of them, and then he also was of the opinion that he don't even understand what these people, the present administration, is doing in office. So maybe they are moving towards totalitarianism and all that. Then, if you think these people now that we have their names does not have what it takes to push forward for this protest, what about Arewa, who is already disgruntled? We have a whole lot of other persons that are not happy with APC.
His name is not in the picture. And as a matter of fact, what is the protest all about? Is it for hardship or bad governance or whatever? We don't have any clear-cut agenda in this particular protest. So some people just want to blow their trumpet for whatever reason. If we have such a thing, the DSS and the police should be the one telling us that they are aware that some individuals are trying to organize the project, this and that. So this one now, it is either some people are working through this group in order to cow Amaechi and the rest of the people that are speaking out. Remember last week I told you here that APC is about to implode. You didn't take me serious. How can it be said that an Amaechi and Arewa will not be the arrowhead to organize a protest against their own party?
All right, let me take you back to 2024. There is a publication quoting statements made by Rotimi Amaechi. Well, I'll be throwing this question to Mr. Akin Bafatunke. Should we be serious? Should we take this to heart or should we disregard it? Now, this is what he's quoted as saying. That's Rotimi Amaechi in 2024 October. This is as reported by the cable newspaper. He says, "I'm angry with Nigerians. I have said it several times. You can see a group of people stealing your money, impoverishing you. You cannot buy fuel and anything." And then he's also quoted as saying, "The people should be angry. There should be protests. Not even protests against anybody, but against the politicians that we won't vote." And then he goes on to say that is what people should be saying. The rate of hunger now, if people like us cannot afford diesel, you can imagine what is happening to those who do not have children like us. Should we, with statements like this, does this, well, we don't know the internal workings of things, but based on what we can see, does this seem like a call for nationwide protests or nationwide unrest? Should this statement be taken seriously or should it be disregarded? And from your opinion, who should we be hearing from when it comes to issues of security? Should we be hearing from the reformed Arewa Youth Council of Nigeria or the DSS?
Thank you again, Moses. Again, the way of politicians, I always describe them as politicians. They have a way of talking from both sides of the mouth, and they also have a way of wanting to justify it. So when they begin their stock in trade, allow them. When I say allow them, hear what they have to say, but put on your own thinking cap. Not exactly sure from what you quoted that the same Amaechi or somebody from APC, I think, I still think that Amaechi openly threw a directive to Nigerians that if the government in which he was participating did not deliver within specific time or whatever, they should be stoned and all that. And he has seen that we are not in the era of an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and it's gotten away with it. That's number one. Number two is the fact that Mr. Rotimi Amaechi has all the inalienable rights to voice his content. And honestly speaking, I am not sure it is only Amaechi's voice since the present government came on board two years ago that have been crying about
Just name it, from marginalization to hunger to bad governance. Actually, everybody has been saying it. Now, I personally do not believe what is coming out to say that Rotimi Amaechi will be going up north to go and begin to organize protests. If you say there's going to be a meeting or a formal meeting where he's going to address, but to say that he's going to call people out on protests
with statements like this,
I do not believe until I see Rotimi Amaechi himself and Bafarawa coming out to say we are going to organize protests.
But you know how things can be sometimes. Sometimes kites can be flown. You might be flying off a kite here. Yeah. But my question now is
that's a kite that will not soar.
Okay.
I'm afraid I have to say that.
My question now is, does it seem like this administration is afraid of people protesting? We've seen things that have happened in the past where Nigerians have decided to protest, but then a heavy clampdown on those that took to the streets, and then some, were arrested, arraigned. Nigerians talked about the kind of people that were arraigned for wanting to topple the government, and this government's idea of interpreting people's
action
protest as wanting to topple it. Is there some sort of subtle fear that if Nigerians take to the streets, things might, go out of hand?
It does not require rocket science to know that for whatever reason, either for good, for bad, or ugly, Nigerian troops to the street, and that we are not going to have unintended consequences. No doubt about that. The various protests that I think we've had that went sour, either because government itself overreacting, you call it fear, being afraid and has decided to overreact, or based on experience that when these protests come out, hoodlums take to the streets and begin to manhandle and womanhandle innocents and businesses.
That's a word that you just coined.
So what we are therefore saying is for you to be on the side of good governance, do what is right, be exemplary, work according to the constitution that is somehow flawed. If you look at the last organized protest, in my opinion, I saw situations where I think Barrister Agomo was making that point and you reiterated it. When a thing like this is going to come, it should be DSS and it should be intelligence agency. Where Russian flags were being flown, we saw seemingly underage going after innocent businesses and decimating them. Even the one previous, the NSAS in Lagos, as an example, going to Yaba left and then going to... So,
all right, let's bring Barrister Darlington back to the
Yes. All right, Barrister, you and I like the fact that you and Mr. Akin, seem to, you in particular, seem to dismiss this idea that, look, Amaechi has the capacity, to organize a protest that it's intended to, bring down the Tinubu administration. I want to take us back to history. They say, there's this popular saying in life that, look, history repeats itself because men don't learn from history. Between 2012-13, the build up to the 2015 general election, it was Rotimi Amaechi that actually stoked what eventually became the tension that led to the downfall of President Goodluck Jonathan. He didn't do it alone. He went up north, pulled in Sule Lamido, went to the middle, north central, pulled in Bukola Saraki. Eventually, they formed what they called the NPDP, the new PDP. Right? He didn't do it alone. He had to organize, whether it was planned or not, but at least it happened. If you have that at the back of your mind, shouldn't it be concerning, not just to the government, but to people, that a certain Rotimi Amaechi is at it again. He's been quite vocal. He's been talking, attacking the very government that is run by his own party. Recall too that he did that same thing in PDP. He was still part of the PDP when his squabbles with Jonathan started. If you put all of those things together, shouldn't Nigerians and the government be concerned that, look, Amaechi is at it again?
I don't think so.
Why?
Amaechi is seeking for political rehabilitation.
Exactly what he did the other time. No, he wasn't seeking for rehabilitation the other time.
Fine. Okay. So in this particular instance, you know that towards the end of Buhari's tenure, Amaechi was declared persona non grata in Abuja. In fact, he went into sabbatical. Nobody heard of him. Even when APC went for functions in River State, they passed through in front of his house. Nobody even said, let us greet this man.
Okay.
He was completely forgotten.
By his own party?
His own party. So,
isn't that enough reason for him to want to rock the boat at this time?
No, the thing is that, you see, it is all this talk about leave the messenger and look at the message. I don't believe in it. A bad messenger will always bring a bad message. If you look at how APC have deceived Nigerians with propaganda, so anybody that has had anything to do with APC is a no-no for me. They are not the right people to come and become the born-again activists, because it is all deceit. Amaechi does not have the profile to start preaching morals to me. He did worse things when he was in government. Everybody knows that. So on what ground will he not be talking?
No, but suddenly,
I fear that he may be arrested, though, and then EFCC will remind him of what he did in office. Go and mark my word.
No, Boris,
and if it happens, I will not be surprised.
Boris, when you look at Nigeria, it's interesting. We also had, you took it back to history where you talk about what he did when he was in office and all that. Now, when you check Nigeria as a country now, and our economic challenges and the way Nigerians are battling a whole lot to have insecurity bedevil in the country. We have inflation on the other side. We have purchasing power reducing and a whole lot. Are you now still saying that some people will not come up to say we really need this protest for Nigerians to take back the country and make sure it's being moved forward?
The people that will take back Nigeria are not people like Amaechi. First of all, let him purge himself. This man has been talking about Nigerians attacking politicians who are stealing their money. Is the Amaechi not among them? What are you telling me here? Then let him present himself. Let him go and purge himself. Let him bring out all he has stolen from us when he was minister, when he was governor and all that. Or are you telling me that Amaechi is innocent here?
So why is it that he's still moving freely? If you think he's not innocent, why is it that the anti-graft agencies have got, pick him already in operation?
It is because he is still in APC. The moment he became clear that he wants to turn himself into an opposition party, you will see what will happen to him. Because his file is still there. All they needed is to dust it and then ask the FCC to go and check out this man. Okay. And there's no way he will not be indicted.
All right. Let me come back to Mr. Fatuke. Mr. Fatuke, the national president of the association said that they reformed the Arewa youth, said something. And he said, look, the current economic misfortune, economic decline wasn't caused by this present administration. It was caused by previous administrations. What's your reaction to that? Is it something that we should be hearing? Is it something they should be telling Nigerians? And didn't this administration know that there were problems, that there were challenges, that there was economic hardship in this country before they accepted to take us to the El Dorado, which I think we are on the road to that. It depends on how far we are traveling. Should an association be telling us that, look, is it something we should hear, that the problems of Nigeria was caused by previous administrations?
Lame duck excuses, in my honest opinion. And in any case, the same party, I don't know from where they are picking their offtake of comparison with. But when they said previous administrations, these are cliches that you always hear from people who have become a bit mentally lazy or just looking for excuse truth of the matter is, when you have a dire situation that we all know we have in Nigeria and that's dated back up to eon years, if you come in and you say you want to be the chief samurai, if that plane crashes under your watch, you are fully responsible. And please let me make it a bit much more clear. The reformed Arewa youth thing that has come up, well, ignorance from my end is no excuse, but I don't know who they are. I don't know what strings they are pulling. I think like Barrister Agomo seems to actually be putting a lead on. They're only trying to act for relevance, one, and two, crying holier than thou. Of a truth, from the offtake of FINA on this table, yes, Amaechi did something at one point in time. I would not lose a sleep. As at that time, he had levers of power. He was chairman of the Governors Forum and chairman of the Governors Forum. And like you also said, I think it's Okoro or yourself, that, okay, he went to the middle, he went here and there, and he was able to pick all those out. So seemingly, assuming that we want to do a compare and contrast, it's not in the same league, it's not a governor, it's not controlling, well, at least not controlling any governor as we know, and government as we know. And secondly, allegedly, he has gone up north to Sokoto. And when Barrister Agomo, you know him very well, when it comes to some of these things, we don't necessarily want to agree. But the truth is, his audience table is not looking too neat for two major points that he still has to explain to Nigerians. One is the issue surrounding the Maritime University and all those things surrounding. His people felt that he was kowtowing to Buhari at that time. And secondly, as Minister of Transport, it's on record that the rail track that we were talking about from Daura up north in Jemena, and people actually said, should this be priorities? He did not actually say you should shut up, but his action indicated somebody who was just ready to kowtow. And now that he's lost it in a seat of power, I as a member of this government, will not even give it any thought.
There's a dimension I want us to look through this. You know, more like this. I want us to examine the role of somehow political underdogs, people who have been, people who have lost power temporarily. You know, if you put Amaechi, APC, El-Rufai, APC, John Kayode Fayemi, APC, Tahiru Bafarawa, formerly PDP, I don't know where he is now, you know. If you put all these people together, and the fact that they are also hobnobbing with Atiku Abubakar and a whole lot of people, you know, from the APC, from the PDP, these are power bases. No matter how we think that they have lost this power, don't you think that they are able, if they try harder, to pull the rug off the feet of this administration? My question is, should it be concerning to Nigerians that these people are congregating again, just for the sake of power? Because if you go back to their own the performance, their performance, you know, people will disagree that, look, like Barrister said, Amaechi did this and that, El-Rufai did all of this and that. Do you think that Nigerians consider all those things when they want to queue behind people?
The levers of power and what makes it agree or disagree does not lie with people who have been in power who have lost out. Please, if you like, and with due respect, please, you may also include the former Vice President, Professor Osinbajo. Now, I am much more concerned with governors who are not just holding the lever of power, but are also holding the levers of the purse. If I am told that these people are going through the governors and going through the governors forum, whether the Progressive Governors Forum, the Nigerian Governors Forum, and they are able to make their impact felt, then I say yes. Yes, this is still possible. But, I mean, it's like me. My name is Akin Fatunke. I am not an avid professional politician, but I'm also a politician because whatever happens in the political space also affects me. So I can go to my downtown ward and begin a bit of a town, let's go see what we can say. Yes, I'm hungry, I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that. I put a few NGOs together, and I am not able to penetrate the power base. And the power base, the local government, and the chairman, the state governors, especially members of the National Assembly, then,
Do you think that the NGF, as presently constituted, is that powerful? Considering that in some APC states, if you look at Kaduna State, there's problem between El Rufai and Sani Oba. If you go to Kwara State, Lai Mohammed and the Otoge movement are clearly against Abdurrahman Abdurrazak. If you come to Lagos, there's that crack. No matter how we try to deny that, there's that crack. Do you think that the Governors Forum are they on one page when you talk about this administration? Mind you, a whole lot of them are not seeking re-election in 2027.
I am so sure.
Okay.
Irrespective of the cracks, seeming cracks or no cracks that we have, I still believe the sitting governor of that state, it may not be to the way I want it to look like, from the moral you just mentioned, but they still control the levers of power because ours is still essentially stomach, no ideology. And because there is no ideology, take the example. I like the first example that you gave. I think it's cogent. The example of Basoni and El Rufai in Kaduna. Almost invariably what you find, and by the way, El Rufai is somebody I have a lot of respect for, but we have to put that aside. Take the kind of alleged allegations that are coming, which he still has to grapple with. And then Ubasoni, if you look at Ubasoni and his antecedents, okay, as a social crusader, A, B, C, D, crying out loud that this is not just going to happen, what will come at the end of the day is that somebody is going to sit El Rufai down and say, El Rufai, yeah, okay, I hear you. When a particular person was president, you knew, and Nigerians voiced it out, you never at that point in time, either because you were a sitting governor or because of a parapo, but you have introduced something now that also was going to be introduced in 2023, and Nigerians must, well, that is deciding Nigerians. Okay, so what are we now going to do? Bloodlines. So, forget exactly what we want to do now, then let me go to another northerner. I'll put it this way. Okay. You are fighting a tested and relatively politically, I don't want to use the word ruthless, intelligent politicians in the Jagaban. Okay. And I can tell you for free, the Jagaban still has its hold.
I'm happy to make mention of that. Right. Now, when you talk about it requires the power of a sitting governor for something like that to come into place, you just made mention of godfatherism. And you know that some governors that happen to be elected by some people in some states did not just get there because they think they have what it takes to be there. They were being put in that position by certain individuals, also from the state. And we know that those people are sometimes former governors of the state, or, one-time or two-time senators and all that. So, but all the same, let's go to Barrister Darlington this time around. You made mention of the reformed Arewa Youth Council of Nigeria seeking for political relevance, Barrister Darlington. And in the words of their President General Bilal Abdullahi, he says that this present administration, through its economic reforms, are working very hard to make sure that Nigeria's economic challenges are being mitigated to the barest minimum. Do you think that he is saying the truth at this point in time, or you think that some people who are scared or kind of aware that some other political elites are beginning to talk about the happenings in Nigeria will wade in to usurp the opportunity and take out this particular organization?
This is why I said that psychophancy is on the loose. It didn't start with them. Before this group who came up with this, their born-again activism, other individuals have been trying to impress Tinubu, from Conde to this other man and even his spokespersons. Meanwhile, even Tinubu himself knows that he's not doing well. That's why he's always apologizing to Nigerians for his reforms that are not working.
At what points did he apologize?
Sorry?
At what points did he apologize for his?
Yes, he has told Nigerians that they should endure the hardship, that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, that he wish he had another way, but there's no other way.
When he was interviewed at the media chat, he did say that, look, he believes the policies will work, it will just take time. That didn't come across
but he has said something. It's not a one-off thing now. At different times, he has spoken. I just quoted what he said now, which everybody had. So, at different points, he has said things like this. And I believe that I told him that, look, Mr. President, there is no tunnel at all, not to talk of lights. I've said it here several times. So, even Tinubu himself is surprised that things are not working. He's surprised, yes, because his actions and his reversal of his policy is enough to tell you that he is not getting it.
Now, Barrister, do you think
Most of his reforms of so-called policies, has he not been reversing them?
Barrister Darlington, do you think that these policies are not really working, or is it that some individuals are there to make sure that the policies did not work? Of course, we're fed by particular politicians that come up to say that the present president is working more like in isolation, that he have some cabal who are head-bent on making sure that a whole lot of things are not working right. For example, talk come up to say that Nigeria have enough to fund these present administrations and the president trips and all that. They have enough money for that to happen. But the president, in one hand, is telling Nigerians that, we are poor, we are near bankruptcy. What do you have to say about that?
Good. You see, a bad workman will always quarrel with his tools. I told you here that Tinubu have made more money than every other president we have had since independence. The facts are there. The naira he floated made him to be making more money than any other president. We never had it like this with our naira. Go and check. We never. It was under Tinubu. The fuel subsidy he removed, he's making money from there. I just told you, I just did an analysis here the other day, and I told you that, look, this fuel subsidy, the subsidy they remove, if you compare it with the actual subsidy that PDP was paying, the gap is so much.
But Barrister, I'm surprised to hear you say that subsidy was removed. You never admitted that subsidy has been removed.
Is that not what you told us? That's what I'm telling you now.
Right,
I told you what you told us. That I'm not in tune with it. I'm telling you based on what the question Fina asked me.
Okay.
So that will tell you that he's not even sure of what he's going and the direction he's going. Up to today, if they ask you where is the Tinubu's economic direction, can you say it?
All right, let's bring our guest from our Benin station. We have Dr. Bright Onyevo-Kuko, who is a medical doctor and a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you. We'd like for you to unmute your microphone so we can hear you clearly. Good morning, Dr. Bright. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, Moses.
All right, then. Great to have you join us this Monday morning. Now, talking about the issues going on in Nigeria and the allegation put forward by Reformed Arewa Youth Council of Nigeria, and they talk about a possible protest and the division that we've seen within the APC itself. Now, over the weekend, Kwankwanso was in Lagos to visit Arewa. Now, would you consider that, well, he did say that he came to visit him to talk about state of the nation. And some have said, look, there might be some ploy here, some alignment working out. And some would say Arewa still holds, still has quite the influence within the APC. And we're talking about Amaechi now, possibly pulling in some northern bigwigs as well, and possibly going for some sort of protest. What's your take in all of this? And would you say this administration is, afraid of people coming together to protest, especially protesting against hunger?
The facts are glaring, and there was a time we were talking on this studio and we said the president need to go on the streets, probably because the ministers or the aides he's having are not giving him the right information. Everybody is feeling the effect of the bad government one way or the other. So talking about maybe alignment, realignment, or their ploy is a normal thing that should happen. It's a normal thing that should happen. As of today, you don't need to convince anybody if there's going to be a protest against bad governance or the policies or whatever. You don't need to tell anybody to join. People will be willing and ready to join. You don't even need to give them a long notice. And if President Tinubu is sincere to himself, he doesn't need anybody to tell him that people are plotting, because people are actually angry. People are feeling the pain, and of course, they say the hungry man is an angry man. So he is aware of what is happening. What they're just trying to do is their normal way of trying to gag people, of trying to make it look like some persons are planning against their government. What plan are we planning? You came into power and this is what you feel you want to do. I'm not even relying on the manifesto of Ahmed Tinubu based on when he contested the 2023 presidential election. I am looking at his manifesto right from the time of President Goodluck Jonathan. All his utterances, all his saying, all his plots. Why should he be afraid of protest? Has he not been the one financing protests with other government? When Jonathan was in power, he did not finance protest. He did not come out. You understand? Even that was a government that people were kind of seeing the direction it was going into. Now with this government of subsidy is gone and Ageda tumbled upside down. We've done 1 year, going to 2 years. We don't have a sense of direction. Why should he be afraid that people want to protest? He shouldn't be afraid. The protest would definitely come. Let him go and arrest those people who have been fingered. He will only arrest them because of his fear that they would come against him. Take it or leave it. Give Nigeria a chance. They wouldn't want to wait till 2027 before they kick him out of before they want to kick him out of office. Because the systems are not going the way it is. And I'll tell you, he is aware and he knows he should just go back to the drawing board and do the right thing.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Dr. Bright, Onyeva. Mr. Fatuke, you seem to be chuckling.
I chuckle.
Now, talk to me about your thoughts with the visit of Kwankwanso and Arewa.
Pure and simple. Why should I worry myself that Arewa is hosting Kwankwanso? Why? Does that not happen all the time? Why do we?
No, we're talking about alignment here now. We're talking about political alignment.
And what is the problem with such political alignment?
Especially when it comes to the
A
re-election.
day is going to
2027.
come, and then you get to the field, the referee will blow, and you play your match. Whoever is going to win will win. Whoever is going to lose will lose. It's the way of politicians. I will not lose a sleep. But what concerns me more, and why I'm chuckling, is some of the things that I'm hearing here, that we don't have a sense of direction. If you have lost a lot of blood in an emergency, and the doctor comes and was going to inject you and put quite a lot of pains, and you begin to groan, it's natural. It will naturally come. Even
Sorry, please. We are talking about Nigerians now. Nigerians are concerned as to what would happen in the coming years, especially 2027. So, talking about the possibility of, a possibility of a breakdown of law and order if protest is not, controlled. That's not having sense of direction. That actually is trying to prevent chaos from happening. I don't know if you see the things going on within Nigeria, or you choose not to be concerned about these things. We see the police, the high-ranking officers of the police are going to court because they feel one of them, who should retire, is being made to stay on in office, and they are being asked to tender their papers, and they're saying, no, we will not do this. We see a lot of things playing out in the political terrain, and Nigerians are saying, look, we don't want things to go out of hand. And you say Nigerians should not be concerned. We should just take it and wait for whatever will play out to play out. And if we talk about it, we are losing sense of direction.
Please, I like to restate. I'm a communications person, and I'm clear. You asked me a question within the prism of an Arewa coming to visit, or Bafarawa, and I said, why should Nigerians be concerned? Are you saying to me, and then to take back your question in a very positive way, that I'm not also hungry? I don't feel it? You can't say that.
Well, if you don't say it, I wouldn't know.
No, hang on. I have families. Even if I'm not feeling it, I have the milk of human kindness to know things are not moving on fine. However, unlike the reformed Arewa youths, among so many other people, I organize and not necessarily agonize. I cannot continue to want to do the same thing and expecting different results. We have to come into those realities. Now, are we really angry? Yes, we are angry. Are we hungry? Yes, we should be hungry. At the same time, we have to be very careful of the heterogeneous nature of the Nigerian state. The heterogeneous nature of the Nigerian state is that we are all clamoring for power. If our man who comes from our end is at the center of things, then everything is going to go on fine. You know that, we know that, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Now, does that take away the position of good governance and the fact that you have to put character? Yes. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a coordination of a continuum of a government, and things have not necessarily turned out well. But we are in a marathon. For instance, why are we looking at Bola Ahmed Tinubu alone? The guy has said, yes, subsidy is gone. Okay, we are going to have more money. Go to a state like Kaduna State. The governor of Kaduna State clearly said, but for the fact that more money are coming to the state, they will not have been able to meet all the obligations. And this same President Bola Tinubu says, hey, wait a minute. Yes, I have my own duties and role under the Constitution, no matter how flawed. But if you go out, governors, you need to do quite a number of things. That is not happening.
Thank you very much for your
do you understand what I'm saying?
There.
So that is the point I am making.
Let's drop anchor here and then move on to another conversation. Sure. Now, going on to the next conversation, some Nigerians have come out, some Nigerians, including Bode George, have said only true federalism, not state creation, can solve Nigeria's problems. And some have also called for constitutional reforms. Let's discuss this when we come back.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Now, former PDP Deputy National Chairman Olabode George has dismissed proposals for creating 31 new states, arguing that it will not address Nigeria's structural challenges. He insists that many existing states are already struggling financially, making further division unnecessary. George noted he urged the National Assembly to focus on achieving true federalism instead of pushing for state creation. He believes decentralizing power and granting more autonomy to states will drive real development. According to him, the current constitution concentrates too much authority at the center, leaving states and local governments weak. He called for a new constitution that empowers subnational governments to function effectively. Oh, well, we still have in the studio Barrister Darlington Agommo, Mr. Akin Fatuke, and from our Benin station, Dr. Bright Onovio Kuki. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Akin Fatuke. State creation is on the table again, you know. Now, the House of Representatives made proposal. I understand it has scaled through second reading or something like that, for 31 new states. And in that, they said, they made some divisions, you know, 7 states to the southwest, 5 to north central, 4 to southeast, and all of that. But George and a couple of other people are kicking, and even Afenifere has said, no, you don't do that. And it was going to bring Nigeria to 67 states if that bill scales through and it is signed into law, creation of more states. Now, my reaction to all of this is, my question to all of this is, first off, what is your reaction to the fact that, look, House of Representatives said we need 31 more states in Nigeria. Put all things together, stability, economic viability, equality, equity, and all of those things. Can we have your broad reaction to all of this?
Yeah, before we go from the sublime to ridiculous, because it is ridiculous, I still believe it's ridiculous. I still think it is dead on arrival. But let's talk a bit more. It's so ironical. We're just coming from a discussion about Bola Tinubu administration and the fact that we have structural issues that needs to be addressed. Chief Bode George is a virulent critic of Bola Ahmed Tinubu over time, even up till now. But by his admission and by what he has prescribed, I saw a statesman telling the truth to power. Please forget about politics now. That we are having what you call a structural imbalance that needs to be addressed. Part of the examples he gave is issue of state police or no state police. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has put a bill in there. The fact that government needs to be devolved down the line. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has put in a structure that we should have local government reforms. That we do not have enough money, whether you say subsidy is gone or subsidy is gone, floating the naira and taking away 10%ers and arbitrage measures out. Bola Tinubu is already working in that direction. Now, it may not be that we are getting the kind of results we are supposed to be getting because of the inherent nature. Or you want to talk about the tax reforms?
Sorry, Mr. Fatuke, my question was clearly on the issue of state creation that is on the table.
But that's why I started. I said I went from the sublime, I want to go to the ridiculous. You cannot. Okay, your people say they want states. Okay, come on, tell us. I have been pushing you, and you do not have the strength to ask, where is the money going to come from? The ones that we have, more than 60 to 70% of them are not viable. How many people will have an unviable business, and then you now then say, yeah, I want to start a business, I want to carry it to high level. And that's why I think it is ridiculous. I am aware that we have issues surrounding equity. And it has been a walk-on straight, K-leg from the beginning. And the clear, good example I can give is the Southeast. The Southeast is having a limited number of states compared to the rest. And when people now then say, oh yeah, because we don't have enough landmass and all that, that structural adjustment, I would say, like they say in the Bible, that it's better, easier for the camel to go through the eye of the needle. Let's look at the edifice that we have already created that is not going to take us anywhere and make adjustments. Rather than say, I'm trying to say something you see, so in trying to want to, that's what I'm reading. In trying to, okay, the Southeast is having 5. Some places are having the Southwest. Okay, let's try and do a balance. And then you are getting 31 states that is proposing more states to those people and all that. You haven't really resolved anything.
Okay,
my mind tells me that this is going to be a wild goose chase.
Let me stay with you on the issue of viability. Should any state in this country not be viable? If you look at the natural deposits that I've studied, all the 36 states have more than 1 or 2 mineral deposits.
Yeah.
Endowed them by nature. Yet we keep talking about these states are not viable.
Yes.
These states always go to Abuja, cap in hand, begging for FARC and all of that.
Yes.
Is that something we should be talking about now? Why don't we, like you said, devolve powers, to the states? Give more to the states, less to the central. What is the inhibition? Why are we hamstrung in doing all of that?
Because we are lying to ourselves. We say we are operating a federation. I do not believe we are operating a federation. We say we are operating a constitution that is not just lying on itself, but has inherent inconsistencies. We have situations where the state resources and the way and manner we want to divide it, a lot goes into population. And we hear people say that they are much more populated than others. That imperfection that has come up. We also have hardworking, all part of Nigeria is hardworking, but we know there are some states in this country, they are entrepreneurial, they are hardworking. They don't have to go to university, but they make a lot of money and make a lot of, employment one way or the other. And then when they want to bring things to the table, you say, yes, it's VAT. Places that are not working as hard as them will be taking more, and we pretend as if we don't know. So all those reforms that we are trying to tinker around, before Amaechi came on board, attempts were made that, look, can we go to the National Assembly? The thing is killed there. And this gentleman, please allow me to call the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a gentleman, now creatively trying to go through some other means, through the governors, putting some more money to them. What exactly are we getting in return? Are we getting the kind of expectations? Yes, it's moving in that direction, but it should be able to go out there.
All right.
We just talk about states.
All right.
There is no state, there is no local government in Nigeria, whether it is human resources, whether it is mineral resources, whether it's tap resources, whether it is digital economy, that is not viable in Nigeria. But we don't have a constitution that will help us get us there.
Barrister Darlington, let's bring you into the conversation now. Just straightforward, yeah? Your thoughts in all of this?
Now, you see, when they want to divert your attention, this is what happens. Go and check. Whenever there is a serious issue that needs the government attention, they will leave it and divert the attention of gullible Nigerians. How can anybody make such a proposal? They know it's not working. They don't want to keep us busy discussing and talking what is irrelevant. On what basis will such a thing even work or fly? Do you know one of the funny things? They say Lagoon State. Is it that Atlantic City that they want to create a state for? I don't understand.
So, Lagoon da Kuramo. We go back to the Portuguese something.
So, and the whole of that place is water. So they will fill it and start building city on it, Abi. No, look at small Lagos that you want to bring another state into this Lagos. Have you considered the inconveniences? So there are things people will do. You know that, yes, they just want to keep us busy. It's not as if they don't know what they are doing. And if anybody buy into such an idea, of course, it is problem on his own. Some people want to create their own kingdom. The one already on ground, maybe they have lost out, like Ned Nwoko. He left PDP and ran to APC because he said that some people did not agree with him to bring Anyama. So APC will give it to him now, B?
Well, he did say he was promised Anyama State. That's why he moved to the APC.
So that's what I'm here. He was promised.
Doesn't this speak to a larger problem of selfishness? Really?
I'm telling you.
Because if what would be the gain if states are created? Some have said it would just be for those within the corridors of power to become governors of these states.
We have traveled this route before. I mean, under Buhari, there was clamor for more states. At the end of the day, he died a natural death. In this administration, they brought it up. That will tell you that these people don't want to divert attention. Mostly, there are serious issues in Nigeria, which you and I know. Insecurity, bad economy, corruption. Why can't somebody tackle all this thing before talking of state creation?
Tackling that, Barrister Darlington, a whole lot of Nigerians have also professed solution for how that can be, curbed or nipped to the bud. But it's more like we don't have the political will for that to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what it looks like. This is not the first time we're talking about the state creation and how Nigeria can move forward and how Nigerians will benefit from, the democracy that we practice. But it's not really forthcoming. Let's get to other stations. We have other virtual guests joining us.
Do you know what it takes to create a state?
I think those that are proposing for that one state also know what it takes for the state to be created in order. So let's go
before we go to our outstation guest now. Is this a ploy to discard what the Southeast has been asking for, which is an additional state?
That's what I'm telling you. I said they want to divert attention because if you ask me, if we are in a country where justice prevails, the Southeast, it doesn't even need to discuss it. This assembly would have been talking about it on their own. Are you getting what I'm saying? It is the Southeast that is shortchanged here. And so, why would somebody want 7 more states in the Southwest? 5 somewhere, another 7 somewhere.
Okay.
And then the Southeast that is lacking behind, though, you now talk of 5 again. So
4. But Barrister, does it bother you that this committee is headed by Deputy Senate House of Representatives Speaker, who is Benjamin Kalu, and who happens to be
from
an Igbo man.
From South.
And he's the one heading this committee, and he's the one clearly, in the face of inequality, that has dodged this issue of number of states from the Southeast, is the one recommending that the Southeast gets the least in the number of new states to be created. What does that tell you? What's your reaction?
Yes, that is the selfishness we are talking about. This particular Benjamin Kalu, the way he has been talking, maybe because he's an APC, he just wants to please his APC masters. It's not as if he's there to represent any Igbo interest. He believes that if they cover this state, he will not be the governor. Abi, being the number 6 person in the country. So all he has been fighting is all about selfish interest. And that is why Nigeria is not moving forward. Do you know that the states we have so far, it was the military that created more states in Nigeria than the civilian. Are you aware? Because of the difficulty in creating states, go and check his section 84. If you see all that we need to pass through to create a state, you will know that it is very difficult. It can never happen, not under this particular administration.
Okay, Barrister.
Not under this, it can never happen. So let them leave that diversion.
Okay, Barrister.
I wanted to be a bit careful. I just put it. I am not aware that Mr. Kalu, as the chairman, is the one that prescribed what should come to. I think, as chairman, all the constituents now came together and he came to present.
Submitted the list.
He's the head of that.
As the head does not necessarily mean that he...
No, but why didn't he kick against it?
Oh, no.
Why shouldn't he have?
There will be a time for everybody to discuss this thing. And
he had an input. We had a certain Moses. We had a certain Chukwuka Otazi who headed the committee on security and anti-graft agencies. A list was submitted to him for clearance for ICPC and EFCC. There was no Southeasterner in that list, and he cleared it. What does that tell you?
It tells you that equity is still not working. All I'm just saying is that I am not aware that Mr. Kalu specifically, at the appropriate time when we get to the door, you are going to see a lot of fireworks.
I understand he was the chairman of that, and he made an input.
Let's get to our Port Harcourt station, where we have Barrister Innocent Eku, who is also the principal and executive director of Innocent Eku and Co. Law Firm in Port Harcourt, join this conversation. Good morning, Barrister Innocent. Good to have you in today's conversation. It's VOP this morning. And the question I would like to ask is, George talked about how Nigerians have championed the issue of true federalism, and he's not the first person making that call. We have the boss of African Development Bank, Adeshina, also calls about how power should go to states for them now to be able to be more viable in making sure that life of Nigerians are being taken care of the way it should be. What do you have to say about the words of Bode George and the clamor for 31 new states to be added to the 36 that we have already in Nigeria?
I agree totally. I agree totally with the opinion of Chief Bode George. When I read the news information and I read through the report, it was laughable. I do not understand how they will recommend the creation of 31 states. It doesn't make sense to me. Because the reality of the Nigerian society is so cumbersome, so dwindling, that the economy as it is today cannot carry 31 states. So for me, it was a huge joke. It wasn't meaningful. They didn't even talk of creating one out of each of the geopolitical zone and then giving Southeast a second one to bring them at par with the other zone. They are talking of 31. For me, it's unacceptable. They are not being realistic, and they are not. That recommendation is not going to be helpful to Nigeria. The truth is that what Nigeria needs is true federation, where each region will run at their pace, design their future at their pace, develop themselves at their pace, develop their human capitals at their pace, develop their infrastructure at their pace. Some may choose to be lazy, some may choose to fly high, and this will create competition among the various geopolitical zones. So true federalism is actually the answer, but these politicians are so reluctant to listen to the cry of Nigerians who have been saying, let there be true federalism. One of the reasons Nigeria is not developing is the presidential system we are running today, the corruption that has encumbered, the profligacy that has become the character of government of the day. And truly, if we remain so even in the next 100 years, Nigeria will not develop. So there is the need to reorder, reorganize, and restructure ourselves into federalism, where every region will develop, own and develop its resources, and pay tax, a certain percentage, to the federal government, so that productivity can become the leading breeze of each of the region. If you watch now, majority of the states are docile. They are not productive. Some of their resources are untapped, while some are being tapped privately by big Nigerians there and being pocketed. They are not coming into the national fold. So
all right, Barrister, you just made a point to say that we need true federalism for us to move forward. Now, my question is, what is it that is now deterring Nigeria for going for what we know is going to benefit us? What do you think is it that what is making Nigeria to look at that direction where this true federalism is going to come into bear? How are we going to bring it into fruition?
Yes, the problem is the selfishness of the political class. The political class are very selfish. They do not want anything to tamper with the status quo, because the current status quo benefits them. They earn over bloated income, revenue, allowances, and privileges. They do not want the system to be tampered with. And so the political class are the enemy of Nigeria. They do not want to listen to the wish of the people. Ordinarily, the wish of we Nigerians should be what the political class should be pursuing, ensuring to make sure that the wish of Nigerians are granted and that Nigerians' well-being will be fostered. But rather, they want to subdue this and then aggrandize to themselves all the opportunities and all the good things that life offers, just the way we have seen it. So the political class is not willing to let go.
All right, but Barrister Eku, let me just stay with you before we move. And I would like for us to kind of localize this discussion. I like the fact, too, that you talked about creating an additional state for the Southeast. Let's even assume that the federal government or the state, Nigerian state, has agreed to create an additional state for the Southeast. I would like for you to let us understand, to feel the pulse of the people. Which of those states are people looking out for? The one in particular, is it a Titi state or is it a Nyoma state? Or which one in particular? And if you don't mind, which one, in your own opinion, should be the area that should get the new state for the Southeast? Putting all of those things together, can we have your reaction, please?
Yes, if actually they wish to create state, if truly they wish to create state, considering the business circulation and considering the level of urbanization, the Nyoma state, which will probably have Asaba as its capital, will be good. It will be feasible. And then bordering the Anambra state, which has the Onitsha with the river Niger, you see they can conglomerate to develop a very international port that can beef up the economy of the Southeast region. Then while they now spread the local government to open the hinterlands and draw down development into the rural area in order to foster rural economy. Rural economy is one thing that Nigerian system of operation has lacked. If you go to many local government we say we have, there is no rural economy in operation. You will find that it is just the local government. And even in some of those local government, you cannot see enterprises. You will drive through some local government, you can't even see an effective supermarket. This is how poor the rural people are. So the Nigerian policy and economic focus have got to be re-engineered so that the rural economy is enhanced, motivated, and supported. That way, the drift to the city will reduce because people will be able to find employment within their local areas and be able to create businesses and commercial activity with.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, Barrister Innocent Eku. Well, let's take it to, from Port Harcourt there. Well, let's take it to Benin, where Dr. Bright is standing by. Dr. Bright, good to have you once again. Well, talking about development cutting across, we know that largely local governments have been blamed for not bringing development to their areas. Governors have been blamed for disregarding some areas. Do you think creation of new state will make anything any different, any better? Well, we'd like for you to unmute your microphone. You seem to... Yes, please do unmute your microphone so we can hear you clearly. All right, we seem to be having a network issue there, preventing us from hearing Dr. Bright Onyebukuka, and also preventing him from giving his thoughts on the program. Well, let's bring it back to the studio now. Barrister Darlington Akobo, let me come to you now. You had some, you reacted, like you disagree with some of the things your colleague, Innocent Eku, made there.
Yes, I did, because when he mentioned the Asaba, Aniocha, our Nyoma state, I knew that you have seen us solve the problem, because that territory belongs to the South. Anything you are doing there is to the benefit of the Southerners, who never believed that they are Igbos. So you sold the dog in your house and you now bought a monkey. And then you are still in the business of stooping on the ground. That's the truth. So anything that has to do with the land belonging to the Southerners, it cannot be for the Igbos.
Sorry, Barrister, for clarity, the proposal in Yoma State has 3 local government areas from Anambra State as part of it.
Yeah, but the fact he said Asaba will be the capital.
And so, is Asaba not capital now?
No, the fact I'm telling of the land. Are you know what I'm saying? Because you are, you know, this initial stage, it may look very easy and simple, but later in the years, then territorial control will come in. This people will tell you that after all, this thing is in our own land now. Why should you come from Anambra?
Issues.
Yeah?
There would be issues.
There will be issues. That's what I'm saying. So avoid it from the beginning. We have land in the southeast that will now be a benefit
I would have loved us
south.
to talk about the development commissions that have been established and you know what Nigerians should expect from them, why they haven't performed in the past, those that existed, why they haven't performed in the past, and what Nigerians should expect from them. But Barrister, please hold on to your thoughts there, because we're running out of time, and I would have loved to ask that question earlier, but we're out of time now. Let's take it to let's go back to Benin, where Dr. Bright is standing by. Dr. Bright, please, you have 2 minutes to share your thoughts and wrap it up with your concluding thoughts because we're out of time.
Okay, I don't know if my audio is back. Okay,
yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Yes, like I said, I was trying to say that we don't need any additional state. Let us go to true federalism. Consider what we have now. Look at Abuja, for example. Every organization wants to have their headquarters in Abuja. Abuja is choked. Abuja is crowded. You know, everything comes to the center. If we create more state, it means that we'll be putting more pressure at the center. Why don't we decentralize, which is what true federalism is all about, so that every state would harness their resources, utilize it, and give the little they need to give to the center. Of course, everyone will be kind of independent. And if we even create more state, we're going to increase more crises, land boundary dispute, and so many other things. So for me, as it is now, let's the status quo remain. Let us focus on having true federalism, and it will go a long way to help every one of us.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Dr. Bright Onyevakuka. Thanks for your contribution there. Medical doctor, public affairs commentator. Let's run to Port Harcourt now, Barrister Innocent. Let's get your concluding thought in about a minute. Well, we'd like for you to unmute your microphone. Barrister Innocent, if you can hear me, please unmute your microphone so we can hear you. All right, then. Well, unfortunately, we have lost connection to Barrister Innocent Eku. Now, let's bring you back to the studio now. Barrister.
Yes.
Darlington, let's talk about that.
Yes.
I have 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes.
Yes, I disagree with the last caller who said that let the status quo remain. No. The status quo can only remain when they give the Southeasterners one more state to balance things up. You don't know what this thing have done to us. This small state they gave us, it have denied us a lot of things. So for equity's sake, let the South, that's what everybody should be clamoring for.
All right.
If you don't do that, you have not solved the problem. That is a fact. Then the Southeast Development Commission, I told you here when this thing came up, I said, look, this is diversionary. These things will never work. All these things that they created, it can never work because they will never allow them to function. I said it here. And it has come to pass. Where is the money for them to function now? Instead of you to even look at the place that are hardest hit, that is the Niger Delta, solve the problem of that place. Make sure that the Ogoni is cleaned up. You left it, you now created the bogus development commissions that will never function. Never function. It was not diversionary. Since those things were announced, please, have you seen or had any movement there? Did you hear that the federal government had given you so money for development, for whatever?
All right, Barrister Darlington.
You can see it now. So why should I not clap for Tinubu?
Well,
when I know that he was just trying to deceive everybody.
Well, we're absolutely out of time, but we need to get one more concluding thought before we wrap it up. Mr. Fatuke, let's have your concluding thoughts, please. Go ahead.
Nigeria has been tottering, faltering, and will continue in this direction unless we have the moral courage to do the right things. Moses, you asked a very interesting question. And that question is, all this clamor, 31, is it a way of trying to scuttle, quote and unquote, giving the Southeast just one state, so at least to try and balance? I have reasons to believe, even though when you give that to the Southeast, when you give that to the Southeast, you have issue. Pragmatism is what we need here.
All right.
I think I gave it to PDP as a party in this country, that they came out and talked about rotation of presidency, which is now becoming to be. Well, unfortunately, the same PDP and Atiku is not even our friend on the show. The solution, therefore, is restructure Nigeria. Let's go to
Nigeria, he says. Well, that's
APC use it as a campaign. Since they've been in office, have they done anything?
Oh, well.
Yeah, that was their campaign mantra.
We'll continue this conversation right after the show. Unfortunately, we are out of time on the show. Well, that's it on the show. Big thanks to you, Barrister Darlington Agumo, and also Akin Fatunke, who is a communication consultant. Thank you very much for coming on the program. I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful time. Join us again at 9 o'clock for newspaper review.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Always endeavor to be a patriotic citizen, because Nigeria is ours.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro. Thanks for coming to this show. But please do well to join me on Political Lens this evening, 6 to 7 p.m. It promises to be very exciting. Bye for now.